Hello friends, welcome to my channel SV Blogger. If you haven't subscribed my channel yet, please click on the bell icon and do not forget to like the video. So the topic for today is mucormycosis. I have chosen this topic because I think many people are not exactly aware of what this mucormycosis is. So I'll be discussing something about what exactly is this mucormycosis and what is the effects of mucormycosis during this COVID-19 pandemic. So exactly what mucormycosis is, it is a fungal infection and this is very uncommon and a life-threatening infection that is occurring in patients from immunocompromised or trauma patients. What happens exactly during this mucormycosis? These invade your blood vessels and affects different parts of the body. During this pandemic, we can see rhinoorbital mucormycosis is the most common and it is the most aggressive form of the fungus. This is basically found in persons who are suffering from uncontrolled metabolic conditions. Special target we can see is diabetes mellitus, the persons who are suffering from diabetes and they are unable to control their sugar level. So when they have high blood sugar level, these infections they infect to the person, or the person who's suffering from COVID, he's being predicted COVID positive, and the person is also suffering from diabetes. This is a major cause that we can see that mucormycosis is being infected to such persons. So what exactly is the epidemiology of this? The mucormycosis, it is a very rare fungal infection. It is seen in persons who are unable to control their diabetes or they are having metabolic acidosis. Right, the clusters of mucormycosis, they are rare and they have been reported into the hospitals, mostly in the patients who are coming up with the organ transplantations. The unhygienic area in the hospital, these are also one of the part that is causing mucormycosis, and the mortality for this is around 30 to 70%. Despite we have many advanced treatment, we have diagnostic features, but still the people are dying due to this. So some very common factors that you guys need to know about this, that the pulmonary mucormycosis is really common, the cutaneous mucormycosis, the gastrointestinal, disseminated, isolated renal mucormycosis, these some are very common factors that are actually infecting, but the main one is the brain and nasal sinus, because the rhinocerebral mucormycosis enters from your nasal, right? Whenever we breathe or something, that enters through your nasal and directly affects to your pulmonary, and over there it ruptures your many different organs also, because that is a very common area from which your blood vessels will be communicating the fungus infection to the rest of the body. So the major risk factors are, like I told you, the uncontrolled diabetes mellitus or ketoacidosis. That is around 80 to 90% of people, those are suffering from uncontrolled diabetes mellitus, are suffering from this. The nose, the sinus issues, the people who are having the major reasons of sinus, they will be having such issues, so they need to be really very careful. The unhygienic apparatus or unsterilized apparatus, when you do not sterilize your apparatus at the hospitals, you just give the person the used apparatus from one to the other. These are also some very common factors. The burns, the person who are suffering from trauma, right? The protein energy malnutrition, these are some very common reasons that will be affecting the mucormycosis infection from invading into your body. Some other forms for this can be some extraordinary, we are giving some corticosteroids drugs, the immunosuppressive drugs, right? The organ or bone marrow transplantations, IV drugs, the premature or low birth weight of the fetal, HIV, chronic kidney disease, the hepatic failure, but there is no such conditions. For 15 to 10% of ratio people are coming up, those who do not have any of this but they're still suffering from the infections. And as I told you, the major reason for this is the unhygienic or unsterile apparatus that are being used in many of the hospitals. So what exactly this mucormycosis comes out with? This is actually an airborne, right? It enters into your nasal and it affects to your pulmonary. The infection is mainly involved into the lungs, the sinuses, and enters into your brain also. The pathogenicity of this is, I told you, the major blood vessels with consequences like ischemia and infarction of contagious tissues. So these are some very common features that I have been telling you since the starting of these slides, that these are the very common factors. Ketoacidosis, hyperglycemia, hypoxia, this give an excellent environment to the fungal infections to grow within to your body. And you need to be very careful, you need to know very well about the issues that you guys are coming up with, and you should directly consult to your doctors if you are having even a minor issues related to this. The clinical manifestations for this is like headache behind your eye. You can see facial pains or eye swelling or disturbance into your visions. There can be lesions or on the heart, palates or nasal mucous. ENT symptoms like nasal congestion, black discharge, acute sinus, and sometimes fever. So these are some very common features. If you find any of that, I must recommend you to go to the doctor immediately. Do not go for your self-treatment and get a self-doctorate by yourself. So there are some different stages that you need to know about, like stage 1, that is infection of nasal mucus and sinus. The second one is orbital involvement. The third one is cerebral involvement into the inters and spread occurs via one of the roots. And roots I'll be discussing into the further one that will help you to evaluate how exactly this fungus is being moving into your body once it enters. So let us begin with the first one, that is pulmonary. So this is basically for the non-diabetic persons, the immunocompromised patient. What are the features that they will be observing into themselves? That will be a fever, cough, chest pain, increase in shortness of breath. There will be some rub or rhonchi, and chronic pulmonary mucormycosis is actually rare, and it is something that we can recognize very easily. So you guys need to be very aware that how you guys are being infected. Moving on to the next one, that is cutaneous. As we understand the word cutaneous, that is something like skin induration and arrhythmia. Then we have necrotic ulcer with dark central area. Then the third one is the margin of the ulcers. These are sharply demarcated, like I have been showing you in one of the pictures. You can see that this is something that is happening into the cutaneous part. Moving on to the next one, we have gastrointestinal, that is the GI. This is the least common, with around 10% of mucormycosis infection is being observed, but it is at high risk with the people who are suffering from malnutrition or having low birth weight or premature infants, ambulatory peritoneal dialysis, and they are presented with abdominal pain, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, hematochezia, and the pathology is GI necrosis and perforation. So this was for the GIT. Moving on to the next one, we have isolated renal mucormycosis. So what is being the isolation part will be studying that the kidneys are basically involved into 20% of this, and the renal mucormycosis is actually very rare. So the renal transplantation with the concomitant diabetes mellitus, these are at high risk, and the other patients who are at risk, they are suffering from AIDS, diabetes, drug abuse, organ transplantation. So these are some very common reasons, right? So moving further with these isolations of renal, that is the flank pain, the flank mass, the renal anger tenderness, pyure, fever. These are some very common reasons. But what exactly is important for us, that how do we manage such things, and we'll be coming up to that into our further slides also. So moving ahead with disseminated. Disseminated is a disease that stems for pulmonary focus, and it is separate in hematogenous matter. So the manifestations for this is headache, fever, visual disturbance, altered mentations, right? But now let us come about the diagnosis. So this was exactly that where this can occur, what are the common areas where we can see the mucormycosis is invading, but how do we diagnose it? So the main features for diagnosis are the sample collection. You can go for tissue biopsy, you can go for tissue swabs into the laboratory. There is direct microscopy, direct evaluations, the cultures, the molecular methods, that is PCR test, and that is really common nowadays. Immunohistochemical analysis, this is culture or antigen detection. These are some very common tests in the laboratories. Now we'll be coming up with the imaging also. The CT scan and MIR, these are the two very common tests that you can do for studying mucormycosis also. The sinus imaging, this is again one important test that you can proceed further with. Now the question over here that arises, that is mucormycosis treated? So I'll say that mucormycosis infection, it can be triggered when you are infected with COVID-19, but if you are leaving it or you're delaying your treatment or you are going for some vision loss, that might major issues will be leading with this. So whenever you are getting even a simple symptom, please do consult to your doctors immediately. So now coming up, that what exactly are the medications and how long is the duration of the treatment. So for the management of mucormycosis, we have antifungal therapies. These are some very common therapies, out of which amphotericin B, this is given by IV, and the other two, these are the medications you can give in IV as well as orally also. Coming up with the oral therapies, that are posaconazole and isavuconazole. Now you can also go ahead with the diabetes control. This is again a management for the mucormycosis, and surgeries. Now in surgeries, you know, whenever the things are being complicated, you guys need to come up with a major surgery. So to avoid that, I would definitely recommend to go for some oral therapies or from diabetic control. So how long exactly is this mucormycosis treatment? The mediation treatment for this is 102 days for the patient with primary mucormycosis. The person with 33 days for those who are with refractory mucormycosis, and 85 days for intolerant to antifungal theory. So ending up with the complications, the cerebro-rhino-orbital mucormycosis, they comes out with the neurological defects, the blindness, cerebellum thrombosis, infarction, strokes, loss of smell, sinus, internal artery thrombosis, pulmonary infarction, soft tissue loss, malnutrition, and short gut syndromes. So these are some very common complications that are associated with mucormycosis. So here I end with the lecture of mucormycosis. I hope this was useful for you guys, and please do not forget to like and subscribe the channel for upcoming videos. Thank you so much.